You know that sinking feeling when you check your bank account balance and watch that pathetic number mock you from your phone screen? Maybe it is $7,342. Maybe it is $216 if you were having a good month. Either way, that first $1,000 feels about as achievable as climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. Meanwhile, some financial guru on the internet is telling you that once you hit $10,000, the next $10,000 comes twice as fast. And you are thinking, yeah, right, tell that to my credit card bill. Here is the thing that is going to blow your mind. That financial guru is not lying to you. In fact, they are not even telling you the whole truth about how dramatically easier it gets. The psychology and mathematics behind why your first $1,000 is exponentially harder than your next $10,000 is not just some feel-good motivation. It is cold, hard science that most people never understand, which is exactly why they stay broke their entire lives. If you are tired of feeling like you are running on a financial treadmill, getting nowhere despite all your effort, we are about to dive deep into the psychological warfare happening in your brain every time you try to save money. When you think about wealthy people, what do you picture? Maybe someone who never struggled with money. Someone who just naturally understood how to save and invest. Someone who was born with some special financial gene that you clearly missed out on. Here is the truth that is going to sting a little. The difference between people who build wealth and people who do not has almost nothing to do with how much money they make, and everything to do with understanding the invisible psychological forces working against them. Your brain is literally wired to sabotage your financial success. And I am not being dramatic here. Neuroscientists have studied this extensively. There is something called temporal discounting, which is just a fancy way of saying your brain values immediate rewards way more than future benefits. Think about it this way. Your brain sees spending $50 on dinner tonight as incredibly appealing. But saving that same $50 for some abstract future version of yourself feels about as exciting as watching paint dry. The same psychological mechanism that makes saving your first $1,000 feel impossible is exactly what makes the next $10,000 feel effortless once you understand how to work with it. The first barrier you are fighting is what psychologists call the house money effect. Your brain literally treats money differently depending on how you got it. Money you earned from your regular job feels heavy, important, difficult to part with. But money you found in your pocket from last week's jeans, your tax refund, or that $20 your grandmother slipped you at Christmas, that money feels different. Your brain categorizes it as play money, and you are way more likely to blow it on something stupid. This is why most people never build wealth despite earning decent incomes. They are mentally categorizing their money in ways that sabotage their own success. Every dollar should be treated the same regardless of where it came from. But your brain is constantly playing these weird accounting tricks that keep you broke. Then there are the money scripts buried deep in your subconscious. These are beliefs about money that got programmed into your head when you were a kid. And they are running your financial life whether you realize it or not. Maybe you grew up hearing your parents argue about money, so now your brain associates having money with conflict and stress. Here is the really messed up part. Your brain has been evolutionarily programmed to keep you alive, not to make you wealthy. For thousands of years, the humans who survived were the ones who grabbed immediate resources when they were available, because there was no guarantee those resources would still be there tomorrow. Your brain is still operating with this ancient software that prioritizes instant gratification over long-term planning. So when you are trying to save money, you are literally fighting against millions of years of evolutionary programming. Your brain is screaming at you to spend that money now on something tangible and immediate because what if there is no food tomorrow? What if the shelter disappears? What if this opportunity never comes again? It is completely irrational in our modern world, but your brain does not know that. This is why building that first $1,000 feels like such a monumental battle. You are not just fighting your circumstances or your income level, you are fighting your own biology. Every time you choose to save money instead of spending it, you are going against every instinct your brain has developed over millennia, and your brain is going to fight you every step of the way. But here is where the story gets interesting. Once you hit certain psychological thresholds, something magical happens. Your brain stops seeing saving as deprivation and starts seeing it as achievement. The same psychological mechanisms that were working against you suddenly flip and start working for you. The research on this is absolutely fascinating. There is something called self-efficacy, which is basically your belief in your own ability to succeed at something. When you have $0 saved, the idea of having $10,000 feels completely impossible. Your brain cannot even picture it happening, so it does not try. But once you hit your first $1,000, something clicks. Your brain suddenly has proof that you are the type of person who can save money. This is not just feel-good psychology, this is measurable, documented behavior change. People who successfully save their first $1,000 are exponentially more likely to save their next $1,000 than people who have never saved anything. Based on what we have covered so far about psychological barriers and breakthroughs, where do you currently stand in your wealth-building journey? Drop a comment below. I read every single one and often respond with personalized advice. Let me show you exactly how this works with real numbers that are going to change how you think about every financial decision. Let us say you decide to save just $100 every single month. At $100 per month, it takes you exactly 10 months to save your first $1,000. 10 months of saying no to things you want. 10 months of feeling like you are making zero progress. But here is where things start getting interesting. That same $100 per month, after you have already got some money working for you, starts behaving completely differently. Let us say you keep saving that $100 monthly, but now you are earning a conservative 7% annual return on your investments. Your second $1,000 takes about 9 months instead of 10. Your third $1,000 takes 8.5 months. Your fourth $1,000 takes just under 8 months. By the time you were working on your 10th $1,000, it is taking you less than 6 months to save each additional $1,000. At $10,000 invested at 7% annual returns, your investments are earning about $700 per year without you doing anything. That is like getting almost 2 months of your $100 monthly savings for free. My name is Finn, passionate about financial education and helping you transform your relationship with money. The advantages of understanding these psychological patterns can change your entire future. Subscribe to Grow with me and learn more practical strategies that cut through the noise. Now your brain starts to get it. You start checking your investment account balance not with dread, but with genuine excitement. You start seeing those monthly gains and thinking, holy crap, this is actually working. The same psychological mechanisms that made saving feel impossible are now making saving feel addictive. This is when people start doing things that seem crazy to their broke friends. They start looking for ways to increase their monthly savings. They start getting excited about tax refunds, not because they can blow the money on something fun, but because they can dump it into their investments and watch it grow. Your brain has completely rewired itself. Instead of seeing saving as deprivation, you start seeing spending as the thing that is depriving you of your future wealth. This psychological flip is so powerful that people often describe it as life-changing. The more money you have working for you, the less dependent you become on your own contributions. When you have $50,000 invested at 7% returns, that money is earning about $3,500 per year on its own. That is almost 3 times your entire annual savings contribution happening automatically. At this point, you could literally stop saving new money entirely, and your wealth would continue growing. The psychology gets even more interesting when you understand what money really represents. Most people think money is about buying stuff, but wealthy people understand that money is about buying choices. When you have zero savings, you have zero financial choices. You take the job you can get, not the job you want. You live where you can afford, not where you want to live. You make decisions based on what you can afford this month, not what is best for your future. But when you have $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 saved, you suddenly have options. You can take risks that broke people cannot afford to take. You can quit a job that is making you miserable because you have a buffer. You can invest in yourself, start a business, or take advantage of opportunities that require upfront capital. This is why wealthy people say the first $100,000 is the hardest to save. It is not just about the compound interest, though that is certainly part of it. It is about the psychological transformation that happens when you prove to yourself that you are capable of building wealth. Your entire relationship with money changes. Most people never experience this transformation because they give up during those brutal first 10 months. Here is what nobody talks about when they are explaining compound interest. The real power is not just in the mathematical growth. The real power is in how it changes your behavior once you see it working. People who successfully build wealth do not just save money and forget about it. They become obsessed with optimization. They start looking for ways to increase their income specifically so they can invest more. They start paying attention to fees and tax implications because they realize those seemingly small differences compound over decades. This behavioral change is so profound that it often affects every area of their life. They become more intentional about how they spend their time because they understand that time and money are connected. Meanwhile, their broke friends are still making the same financial decisions they made 5 years ago, wondering why nothing ever changes. They are still buying lunch every day because it is only $8. They are still financing cars they cannot afford because the monthly payment seems manageable. The average American spends more money on coffee in a year than they have in their emergency fund. That $5 latte every weekday adds up to $1,300 a year. Invested at 7% annually, after 20 years, that would be worth over $53,000. Most people's spending is not about the money at all. It is about emotion. They are buying lunch because they hate their job, and that 20-minute break feels like the only good part of their day. They are buying clothes they do not need because shopping gives them a temporary hit of dopamine. Understanding this is crucial because you cannot solve an emotional problem with a mathematical solution. The people who successfully make this transition do not do it through willpower alone. They do it by replacing their spending habits with saving habits that provide similar emotional rewards. Instead of getting excited about buying something new, they get excited about watching their investment balance grow. One day, they are checking their investment account, and they notice they are more excited about a $200 gain in their portfolio than they would be about spending $200 shopping. That is the moment when building wealth stops feeling like a sacrifice and starts feeling like a game they are winning. Here is your concrete challenge. Do this exercise this week. Track every single dollar you spend for 7 days. Do not try to change anything, just observe. You will discover money leaks you never noticed. That is often $50 to $100 per month you can redirect towards savings without feeling deprived. This simple awareness exercise works because it bypasses your brain's emotional spending triggers and shows you exactly where your money is really going. So there you have it. Your first $1,000 is not just harder because of the math, it is harder because you are literally fighting your own brain's ancient programming while building completely new psychological pathways. But once you break through that barrier, compound interest and compound psychology work together to make wealth building feel almost automatic. Your future millionaire self is waiting.